Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the League of Europe. We are here for round number 3 around the Suzuka circuit in Japan. My name is Jake. I'll take you guys through this as always, and I am back. Of course, I wasn't here last week. I was actually getting covered by the man with the legend that is alongside of me for this evening, and hopefully I probably won't be missing anything else later in future, but you never know. It is RJ. Ross, how are you doing this evening?
Woo! I am doing very good, very good. I'm also very nervous because I am watching the football at the same time, but we'll ignore that. Yeah, it can only go up after last week, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been able to actually watch back what happened last week, but I'm a bit intrigued to see how this is going to go this evening. Sadly, there's only 14 people. Not a good turnout whatsoever, but I'm hoping it will be only here on up going forward. I know that there's a lot of the school holidays that are going on right now, so like I said, hopefully next week that starts, or from maybe next week or 2 weeks' time, that will then start to reduce, or we'll start to increase more people in the lobbies as such. So yeah, like I said, I'm quite intrigued to see how this is going to go down for this evening. Excuse me. I know that we have now finally got both of the old guys here this evening, of Old School and Farrell, and a little bit of a tip for what Old School said. He's only been driving this game for about 2 hours, and he said in the organizer chat, where is it? I did just say it. He said this game is unbinnable. So we'll see if that is going to be the case in a few laps into the race, or even in qualifying. You never know what can happen with that. But yeah, like I say, we're here for round number 3 of Season X of League of Europe. And yeah, I mean, as I say, it's so far not exactly been very good of a turnout. And like I say, hopefully we can get that improved a lot more. But despite that, we still had some good racing nonetheless. Ironically, our championship leader isn't actually here this evening, so it gives everybody else, and second place isn't here either, so it gives everybody else an opportunity to try and catch up to those top 2. Just in case you are wondering about the championship standings, it is YYY that is out on top at the moment with 37 points, and then it is Mr. Valter, the reserve, in second with 28 points, a 9-point difference between the top 2. And then it's Brent, who's our next one, who actually took the win at Australia, and then taking P12 in China. So yeah, like I said, anything can happen. I guess we'll probably see a change in the championship standings at the end of this race, because I think Jordan and Farrell and Corley Kicker are all on 18 points, and Corley Kicker isn't here, so it gives Jordan and Farrell, the Scotsman and the Irishman, an opportunity to move a bit further ahead from the rest of the guys behind them for this evening. And from what I saw with Farrell's impressive drive in Australia, I'm sure we might see something very similar for this evening, Ross.
Yeah, Farrell's got that in the bag, and he's clearly one of the quickest guys in this division. Just from when I've raced him in enduro and stuff like that, had a bit of a problem with not finding the barrier. But if this game is apparently unbiddable, then hopefully he won't. Yeah, Farrell's right up there. Brent's result from last week is a little bit skewed. He was on one of those ridiculous undercuts again, and probably was going to get the lead, and then the safety car came out just before everyone else pit, so kind of cost him, and then he got spun on the restart, or a few laps after the restart, so a bit misleading. But Brent, great opportunity for Brent to try and retake the championship lead here, with White Hawaii missing this one, and Mr. Watt was, I think, reserve anyway, so.
Yeah, no, it certainly could be a good opportunity for those guys to, as I say, get in towards the lead of the championship. I think it's 19 points separating them and White YY, both Jordan and Farrell. So we'll see how that goes on for tonight. Farrell is going to be our first one to complete a lap for this evening as well. And he has just made his way through the second deck now and up towards the hairpin now as well. Irishman, as I say, going to be the first one to complete a lap around Suzuka. And again, I'm intrigued to see how this is going to go down. We also welcome back Old School. I think it's the first time that he's actually racing this season, so it's nice to see that he is, of course, back. And now Farrell has got a teammate that he can actually try and talk to if about how he's going out in Birmingham for the past 2 weeks. So yeah, and again, he's saying it's unbinnable around Suzuka, or unbinnable the game, shall I say. So again, like I said, we'll see if that does hold off for Old School, because if not, then of course, and I've told him this as well, he's to be expecting an absolute roasting that the game is quote unquote unwinnable. But around the final corners we come now with Farrell and up towards the line, trying to keep as tight of an exit as possible towards the line he comes. And it's a 27.7 to kick us off in the Alfa Romeo. There's an Haas behind them doing a 28.5 and a Red Bull of Harry F with the 28.6. So very good time from Farrell to kick us off already. Well, I was about to say almost a second ahead of Lars, but now Cam K jumps up into second, a 28.2, Crack with a 28.4, and Old School the 29.1. He reckons he could probably do a 27.4 around here, as MCR then jumps up ahead of Farrell with a 27.6. The consistent Spaniard, as I always like to call him. Every single time I see him race, he's always just, I don't know how, he's just always there at the top, and it always just seems to creep, like, I think I remember saying this in the first race, or you might have said it in the first race. Because he's always there, you don't realise he's in like a championship fight until it gets a bit too late, and you've just seen that he's just been consistent, consistently up there with the rest of the guys. So, yeah, putting it on pole so far for the Spaniard is a very good early showing, as I think that was Jay Hings jumping up into third place, and Matt Tibos also jumping up ahead of Kamke.
Yeah, MCR has this Carlos Sainz effect. You don't see him, but he's just there. He's always there. He's always scoring points. Yeah, Matt Thibos, Jay Hings just jumped up. Matt Thibos, that's a good banker as Brent goes up into third. So still only 2 in the 27s at the moment, but those times are going to come flying down. And actually, Brent looks like he's on the medium compounded tyres, which, wow, 28 flat on the mediums. That's some banker, really. That's really, because I don't know what the tyre difference is. Maybe 6/10 round here. That is, wow. That's for a banker. A 28 flat on mediums is ridiculous.
Yeah, I can't lie. That's quite insane. So yeah, yeah, that is insane. That's all there is to it. That is quite insane. So we'll probably expect Brent to be putting it on pole, but the other Dutchman of Matt's just making his way around the final corner now. 28.5 for Tim Matz. Up to P9, splitting Lars and Harry F. Jordan, the Scotsman, as I say, trying to fight for this championship as well. I think is going to be our next one across the line to complete a lap. It says there's yellow flags pretty much all around the whole circuit, but that is pretty much untrue. As the Scotsman just making his way up towards 130R, there is an Alpine going very slow off, I believe, Brent just on his in lap. But yeah, like I say, let's see what the Scotsman's able to do. A 111.2 in the middle sector. It says it's purple as well. So we'll see if that is going to correlate to it when he comes across the line. Very nicely done over the final chicane now as well. As early on the acceleration as you could possibly get. Doesn't take the tighter line up towards the line, but up as he comes across the line, 28.141. So yeah, slots it into P5. Decent position for Jordan. Realistically, it's him versus Farrell in this championship fight for this evening anyway. But again, anyone can really spoil the party. Brent as well. I suppose it's between those three. They're the three that are really going to be trying to excel their way up into the top of the standings, especially with White Trial and Mr. Watt not being here for this evening.
Yeah, and they've all done the important part from those first runs and actually get a lap on the board. No invalidations as of yet, unless Julia Show managed to invalidate. I don't know. Whereas Rex is now on his first flying lap, coming through the S's in the first sector. Rex always does this, a little bit different, a little bit later on that first run. Just, I guess, to get the clear track, but is absolutely flying through the Degners. It said purple through first sector 1, so Rex is on quite a good lap here as he breaks into the hairpin. Yeah, Rex has been up and down the first couple of races. Didn't have a great race in Australia. Had an all-right race for a point until I think he spun in China, or there was some sort of contact or something, but didn't score there. So not a great start in terms of that, but the pace has been there. Now he's just got to correlate that into some points as he makes his way up towards the final chicane. Didn't see what the time and split was for that middle sector, but as he gets through there quite nicely onto the power and up to the line, where is Rex going to put this on his banker? It's going to be a 27.4. It's going to be provisional pole.
And I thought Harry F was going to be in the way of him there as well. He's just coming around the final corner before. And you can see from Rex's point of view that literally that Red Bull was just in front of him the entire time. So maybe that bit of slipstream might have actually helped him the entire way through. But yeah, Rex straight onto pole so far now, 27.4 on his first run, as you say. And yeah, I think really now everybody else has got it all to do. Harry F has gone very wide as he comes up Dunlop curve, and that is his time done for this so far in this qualifying session. Old School, I think, is probably going to be one of our next ones to come across the line. For him and Farrell both just starting a lap at the same time. Matt Tibbles also just starting his second lap as well. I think Crack actually might be the first one across the line, but I want to see Mr. Unbinnable go through the S section, sorry, at the start of this lap, and we'll see what he's able to do come towards the end of this lap. Goes nice and wide out of the Dunlop curve. If you go over that a bit too much though, I have realised in this game it can, you get beached on the curb and it just absolutely sends you out on one, and especially through the second deck mirror as well, as I think Old School might have just learned that one. He is 5 tenths up on his time though, so it's not looking like a bad time so far for the man returning back into Division 3. He was in Division 4 for the past 2 seasons in F1 22. I think he's gotten a bit more the hang of the wheel now, so, which is nice to see. So, yeah, he's now just making his way up towards Spoon Curve. See if he's able to take this quite nicely as well. Keeps it in 6th gear. A little bit hesitant on the turning and on the throttle, but it's to be expected. From the looks of things, I don't think he turned his ERS off on his outlap because he's run out of ERS now, so we'll see what he's able to do as he's making his way around 130i. He's 3.5 tenths up on his time, and like I said, we'll see if he's able to make that improvement despite the lack of ERS. Just now making his way around the final chicane now, and has just gone absolutely around. Mr. Unbinnable.
It's unbinnable. It's unbinnable. You could not have scripted it any better.
Whilst riding on board with him as well, it could not have gone, as you say, any better there, Ross. Matt Tibos jumps up to P4. Farrell jumps up ahead of MCR as well, but still not up ahead of the American of Rex at the moment either. So, yeah, I think Rex, that banker time for him has been, well, a sublime start, as MCR just coming through the first deck and has invalidated his time. So the Spaniard is probably going to have to make it come back into the pits at the end of this lap, as that's Brent straight on top. 27.429 for the Dutchman in the Alpine. Very nice time. And at the moment, well, Rex is in the pit, so he's not going to be able to try and beat it. Farrell's already just done his lap. MCR's invalidated. Let's see if anybody else is going to make any sort of improvement. Lars was just coming around the final corner, but he's just made his way into the pits. Jay Haynes is about 1.5 seconds down on his time, so I don't think he's going to make any improvements either. What about Crack? I think Crack might be our next one to come across the line here. Let's have a look. Yeah, so he will be. And he's, oh my goodness, 6.5 tenths up on his time there, Ross.
Yeah, see how much you can gain in this final corner. It's one corner for a sector. It's not a lot of places to actually gain the time, as Crack comes up to the line and goes P5 in the end. So yeah, about maintains through that final few corners. I was actually a bit disappointed when I saw Brent's lap. You see that kind of time on the secondary tyre and you just think, wow. And then that lap, obviously it's gone top, but it's not out of reach, you know. Just you kind of think, oh, with that kind of banker he'd be gone, but no, it's still all to play for, as people now are starting to enter the pits for a fresh set of tyres. As Jordan, actually one of the few still going around on a flying lap, actually might be the only one going around on a flying lap, as Jordan comes on to the back straight out of Spoon. The sector split is going to come up here, and it says purple, it says 2.5 tenths to the green for Jordan, so that would put him, up there, but only a few places going to be gained here as Jordan comes around the final corner. DRS open now up to the line and goes P5. Oh, gained a lot more time in that final sector, so 27.6 for Jordan. That is really close between that top 5 at the moment. Just over 2 tenths?
Yeah, separated by just, as you say, over 2 tenths of a second. Even then, Cracker's also still there as well. Just under 4 tenths of a second separating the top 6. But I'm watching on board at the moment with Geordie Show. There's a little bit of rear locking going through the hairpin. Might have just caused a little bit of time issue for him there. But we'll run on board with him in the Aston Martin, just making his way up towards the spoon curve now as well. And we'll see if they're able to maybe get themselves up there. It did say it was a purple sector 1. I think it was a 31-0 in the first sector for the Aston Martin. So we'll see if that's able to translate going through the rest of this lap. It's just making his way up towards the end of the second sector split. And it is a 1:11.7. So this was about 8/10, I want to say, slower than what Rex's was. So if I'm going off that right, I reckon he's going to be around sort of where Matt Tibbles, Jay Hings are throughout the final corner, because take that quite nicely. Up towards the line comes Julie Show, and across the line it comes, and it's only P12, a 1:28.5, slotting in behind Tim Mats, who I thought was actually on a lap, but he's actually on, I think he's on a secondary out lap. So this looks like this could be Tim Mats' final run for this evening. As there is a Mercedes just coming around the final corner of Jordan, I think, just to come into the pits so he can go for his final flying lap. So Harry F will be our first one to complete his final flying lap for this evening in that Red Bull. We'll see what he's able to do. Again, sitting down in P13 at the moment at 1:28.6. Not necessarily out of it, because it's still very close with the likes of Mats and Cam K out in front of them. Mats and Julie Show. So any sort of improvement that Harry F can make in this lap will definitely jump him up at least 2 spots. So yeah, just see if he's able to maybe make more of an improvement to try and jump himself up in towards the top 8, top 7 kind of area. I mean, even if he gets into 27th, then I would say that's probably a successful qualifying for the Red Bull. But just coming up and around Dunlop Curve now, the car on the outside being a Williams. He's 3 tenths up on his time, so this is a very good start for the Red Bull, especially with now 2 more sectors to go where he can make up even more time on this lap. Coming around now, the hairpin is the Brit in the Red Bull. A little bit of a slide on the exit. Goes very wide out of there as well. Tries to use as much track as possible. Sometimes not always the best way to go about it, but we'll see if it does still make an improvement for him. Coming up towards spoon curve now, though, is the Red Bull. Doesn't take it as tight as I thought he would do. And also, again, a bit hesitant when going for, or when braking to try and steer in as well. But making his way up towards 1:30R now. What is his second sector split? It is a 1:11.5, 4 tenths up on his time. So, like I say, let's put him up ahead of Mats and Julie Show. Could even put him up ahead of Cam K if he's 4 tenths up. It slots in between Lars and Cam K. But around the final chicane comes Harry F. This is looking like a nice tidy lap. I think this is going to put him up even ahead of Lars. It is actually in between them, Lars and Cam K. Into P10 goes Harry F at 28.229. And like I said, Ross, the final laps are now starting here.
Yeah, they are, as IRT Crack is coming through first couple of corners. I don't know if I'm reading into this wrong, but it looks like there might have been a little clash between teammates in the Alpine. Never seen that one before, but Cam K might have got a little bit of rear wing damage, potentially from something to do with Brent. So don't know. I have to wait and see what they say after quali or whatever, if they say anything at all. But just watching, I don't know if the timing is quite working. No, IRT Crack has backed off by the looks of it. The red light is flashing as well, so I don't actually know who's on a lap here.
I think Farrell's going to be our next one, if I'm not mistaken. He's just going through spoon curve now. In fact, no, he's in fact also backed off of his lap time. He's in fact giving Jordan a little bit of a toe here. He's just trying to sort of intimidate the Scotsman behind him. So I think a little bit of rivalry banter going on between the pair of them. So yeah, but yeah, I think you're right. I think Lars will be our first one to complete a lap. Brent, though, just looking around on his time, he was 400ths up on his time so far through the first sector. But we'll stick on board with the Dutchman of Lars in the Haas, see what he's able to do. 28.1 so far. Again, any sort of improvement for Lars will jump him up at least 2 spots as well, just over a tenth of a second behind Matt Tibos in 7th position. So see if Lars is able to make any sort of improvement, and if they can, then as I say, they'll end up jumping up at least 2 spots. Maybe if they can even get themselves into the 27s, they could maybe try and challenge Crack for that P6. Again, time will tell probably within the next 20 seconds. He's 10th and a bit up on his time. That is now the checkered flag. And so Julie Show didn't actually manage to get across the line in time to complete their final lap. So,
wow.
Yeah, that's not going to be any improvement for Julie Show. Lars, though, around the final corner he comes. Up towards the line. This is 28.114. Did improve, but it's not enough. Brent, though, across the line he comes. This is 27.3. He was 2 tenths up. coming through the final sector, well, just coming into towards the final sector. So he must have made a massive mistake coming through that final chicane. But Rex, who's trying to challenge him for pole position, is coming up towards the line now as well. Not an improvement for the Americans. So that's quite a surprise to me as well. Farrell, I think, is going to be one of our next ones. Matt Tibos will definitely be the next one to come across the line, though. He is just making his way through the final chicane now. Up towards the line he comes.
Farrell's
Is Matt
two
Tibos
temps
gonna...
up.
Let's see. Matt Tibos, P6, 27.724. I think there's that Alpha Tauri out in front, I believe, of Tim Mats, who, no, sorry, it was Jay Hinks just coming into the pits, but Farrell, is it going to be on pole for the Irishman as he makes his way across the line? No, it is not. Again, another mistake in the final sector for Farrell. No improvement for him at all. Kamke goes up to P8 at 27.946, and Williams just come across the line of Crack. In fact, goes up ahead of his teammate at 27.476 for Crack. Harry F, I think, is going to be our final one across the line, but not going to make an improvement. MCR coming across the line to put it on pole position, just about ahead of Brent. MCR, the consistent Spaniard, now wants to try and be the consistent one at the front of the grid and chucks it on pole position. So close between those top five as well, split by just 1/10.5 of a second, Ross.
And if you know someone that's not going to mess up their lap, it's MCR. Always there, no matter what. And no one else wanted to set a clean lap at the end, so he decided he wanted a bit of pole position. So MCR takes pole. I was watching Farrell. Farrell just slid through the chicane. He was near enough 2 temps up. He would have got pole before that final chicane and just slid through that first part. Yeah, really, no one really wanted to improve except from MCR and Crack at the end, and they're the ones that benefit.
Certainly do. As I say, Brent messed up majorly in that final sector. As I say, he was 2 attempts up, and so with Farrell. And yeah, as I say, that final sector really just messed it up for them. But here is your grid for round number 3. It is MCR on top with Brent in second, Farrell and Crack on the second row in third, and fourth with Rex in fifth, Jordan in sixth, Matt Tibos in seventh with Kamke in eighth, Jay Hings in 9th with Lars in 10th. Odd School in 11th with Harry F alongside him in 12th on the 6th row. Then it's Ecos Mats and Julie Show rounding out the final grid positions for this evening. There's only 14 drivers here this evening. Top 12 are points for the League of Europe. So at the moment, if it was to finish the way that it did in qualifying, it would only be Ecos Mats and Julie Show who wouldn't be picking up any points for this evening. But yeah, MCR chucking it on pole. We thought it was a guarantee of Brent, considering what time he did on the medium tyres. That genuinely shocked me.
Just no clean lap at the end from Brent, and that's what's cost him. I saw when Rex went to second, I thought, okay, that's the front row, or at least them two next to each other. There's 3 places between Brent and Rex now somehow. Like, there was only a tenth between them. So it is really close, but yeah, no one wanted to set a clean lap, like a perfect lap, and MCR is the only one that wanted to do it.
Certainly did, and it's obviously paid dividends for him. Finally, we've also got the formation lap on. As I say, they have fixed, or they did bring up an update at the start of this week, I believe. So that formation lap should now be working. It shouldn't disqualify anybody if they get disqualified in the formation lap. So, but even then, still best not to try and test it and try and crash or do anything in the formation lap that get you disqualified. I think also just trying to do the grid boxes as well would be the best thing. But yeah, just as a precaution, try not to get disqualified in the formation lap. But hopefully we should be getting that formation lap underway very soon, and we do indeed. So it gives us time to have a look at what tyres everybody is on for this evening. It's MCR and Brent on a set of the mediums up front, Farrell and Crack just behind them, both on a set of the hards. A very mixed strategy, I've got to say. Cam and Old School, the only two on a set of the softs, and then it's sort of relatively even between the rest of the guys. I think there's 6 mediums and 6 hard tyres. So yeah, the top 2, of course, being on the mediums, trying to run away as quick as possible. Farrell and Crack are going to be the ones trying to keep up with those 2 out in front. See if they're able to do it. Of course, if they are, then they'll have that bit more of an advantage towards the end of the race. Of course, if there's an early safety car, though, then that definitely messes up Farrell and Crack's strategy and brings that race straight back towards the likes of MCR, towards Brent, Rex, Jordan, Matt Tibos, Kamke, and Old School, and Lars, all starting on the softer compound tyre, and Cam and Old School starting on the softest compound of tyre for this evening. But really quickly, Ross, I've just got to ask, Any sort of prediction? You reckon MCR comes out on top? Do you reckon Brent pips him? Or anybody else in the field do you reckon comes through?
My brain should say Brent. No. Well, on pace, my brain should say Brent. But he has moments of madness, so I really don't know. I'm gonna go with Brent because I think it's the safe option. But part of me fancies Matt Tibos to get up there. I don't know why, but he just snuck up out of nowhere last week in China. I think he might be able to do it again.
Well, we'll see if he is able to. For me, I'd probably still have to go with Mr. Consistent. In fact, that's actually what I'm going to start calling MCR now. MCR going to stand for Mr. Consistent Racer. So we'll see if the Spaniard is able to try and maintain his pole position into a win for this evening, as they're all just making their way around the final chicane now to finish the formation lap. MCR chucking it out on pole position. Brent, as you say, pretty much is going to be the favourite to try and win this race after a bit of a botched qualifying for the Dutchman. But is the charging Dutchman going to be able to get past the consistent Spaniard out in front of him? Could the Irishman behind them also play a part in this as well? Matt Tibos and Rex both getting the DSQ, but hopefully it doesn't mess it up for the pair of them and that they're out, because if so, then it means that we'll have to restart the lobby. Hopefully it isn't. It doesn't look as if it is, so we are waiting for the 5 red lights to come on. We have got 3, 4, and the 5 red lights for round number 3 of Season X for the League of Europe. And the lights are out, and away we go. Relatively even start between the top 2. Farrow, in fact, having a better getaway than the both of them. Trying to line up alongside him. In fact, Brent having the better second phase and going up the inside in towards turn number 1. That was, I think, also Rex going a bit too deep through turn number 1. But Brent manages to get the jump up ahead of MCR. Now goes up into the lead of the race. There's a spinner out on the back. That is Lars going through turn number 2. Unfortunately for the Dutchman, having that spin. I don't know if he made any contact with anyone. I think you might have seen that there, Ross. But other than that, throughout the rest of the field, all still just going in a nice little single file order, going through the end of the first sector and coming through the first and second Decna, where it's quite easy to sort of bin it through here. But it looks like everybody has managed to keep it going and in a straight line so far. I think Old School under pressure though from Harry F, going down in towards the hairpin. As I say that though, Kamke trying to go down the inside of Jay Hings in towards the hairpin. They're going 2x2 Nova's arc style, as Old School trying to hold it around the outside of the hairpin, and Tim Matt's also trying to hold it around the outside of Julie Show, going through that hairpin, manages to do so, but Kamke managing to make up one position now, out already 1 second behind Jordan. The American needs to try and move his way up in front. What happened on that? What happened in the first sector with Lars then?
It just looked like a little bit of a squeeze into that curve on turn 3, so I don't know if there was contact or not, but it was one of those. It's probably a racing incident, just for the fact it was on lap 1. It's just, it all got bunched up, and there was really nowhere for Lars to go.
Very unfortunate incident, as you say, for Lars, indeed. As here we go, Rex trying to go down the inside of Farrell, going down in towards turn number 1. The Irishman on the hards, the American on the mediums. A bit of contact between the pair of them, and that means that he gets a bit squeezed. Rex has gone round. Farrell went wide, but still only losing out 1 position to crack. I think really is a blessing in disguise for Farrell. I don't know who was really at fault with that one. It looked like Farrell gave Rex a bit of a squeeze, but that's what is tending to happen going through the first turn. I don't know. We'll have to see if there is a report put in after that, but it is Farrell that manages to keep it going. And Rex, unfortunately, after a good qualifier for the American, he's now down in 13th position. The timings are a little bit messed up on the timing screen. I don't know if it's also the same for you there, Ross, but yeah, they're massively messed up for me at the moment. It's just the positions-wise, they are in the positions that they're in at the moment, as Harry F given a little love tap to Old School going through the hairpin. I think probably indicates he needs to speed it up a little bit going through that hairpin. Yeah,
I was on board with crack through that turn 1 and 2, and when I tell you my life flashed before my eyes, they were so close to crashing into the back of his own teammate. Like, I don't know what happened, because I quit to the onboards and one was miles off track and the other one was sideways, but crack was so close. Everyone did really well to avoid Rex, and actually Rex did very well to get out the way, but just unfortunately, it really squeezes you in down into turn 1, as I think the timings might sort themselves out. Now they do, and we've got Matt Tibos trying to make a move on Farrell. Not enough going for him. Farrell's got a bit more on the straight to just hold that one ahead. But yeah, a bit of a train now going to form behind Crack for P3, but that top 2 on the mediums are going as we have another spinner, and that is old school.
That is Mr. Unbinnable, has gone around out of lap number 3. I did say I was going to say it on the stream, and he's only gone and done it. So, yeah, Mr. Unbinnable now down into, unfortunately, plumb last for Old School. Got to give him the benefit of the doubt, though. He's only been driving the game for about 2 hours in total since it came out in June. So, yeah, very unfortunate for Old School, but hopefully he can make his way back through the field. Also, just on the last lap, that's Farrell for some reason ghosting. I'm not sure if he must have had a moment going through the hairpin because he's now lost the second lap to Crack.
He's a long way back.
Something must have happened to Farrell going through there. But on the last lap, I think it was Tim Mats hitting the back of Harry F. Harry F is now 3.5 seconds behind the AlphaTauri. And I saw Old School going for that move on Jay Hings as well, going through that final chicane. So all sort of kicked off going through there as Cam K now trying to go around the outside of Jordan, coming through 130R. Going to be interesting if he does manage to pull it off. He is up ahead. Jordan lets him go with that. Cam, nice move to get himself up into P6. And now trying to go for Matt Tibos as well for P5. Matt Tibos goes very deep, going in towards the final chicane. Cam swoops it around the outside. Beautifully done from Cam K. A little bit of a wobble, I think, for Matt Tibos as well, which could compromise him. I let Jordan maybe try and go for a move as well as Jay Hings. They're all still running in that little train there. But Cam utilising these soft compound tyres to perfection so far. Again, very nicely done on traction, coming through Spoon Curve and getting the move done on Jordan. And then coming through 130R as well, and out of the final chicane, manages to pit Matt Tibos. So now up into P5 is the American. As I said, he needs to utilise these soft tyres as much as possible, and he's doing just that. Meanwhile, though, up towards the front, the top 2, MCR and Brent, are still running in recollection with each other, as that's Old School once again having another spin, and that's a full course safety car. He's got no front wing.
He's just, I don't know if he was anywhere, he wasn't anywhere near anyone, so he's just dropped it on his own through turn 2 into the barrier. It must have been on the exit on that outside curb, so into the wall. Very easy done on previous games. I don't know about this game, but very easily done on previous games. No front wing, and that's a full course safety car, which will make things interesting for, I don't know, do the soft runners pit? I mean, Old School's going to have to pit, but does Cam K follow him in?
Yeah, surely if you're Cam, you've got to come in. Even the medium runners, I might even be tempted to say that they may have to come in as well, just so they're not getting jumped 20 odd seconds by Cam and by Old School, despite Old School being the one that's caused a safety car. It's just so that they can avoid that happening between the pair of them. But yeah, I mean, that's probably, it's going to annoy both Brent and MCR because, well, they already had about nearly a 3-second lead up ahead of the rest of them. Are they coming in? Brent stays out, MCR stays out. Crack and Farrell, I expected them to be staying out, but is Cam coming in? Cam is coming in. Matt Tibos is coming in. Jordan stays out. Jay Hings stays out. Jordan Show stays out. Matt stays out. Harry F, I would have thought, also stays out. No, in fact, Harry F is in. Rex follows as well. So a lot of different strategy going on. A few of the medium runners are opting to stay out, which, again, it could play into their favour a bit later on, or it might come back to bite them. I think if there's a second safety car, then that's going to help them massively. If there isn't, then yeah, I think it really ruins their strategy for sure. And the guys that have pit, I think they'll be quite delighted if there is no other safety car. As Cam's actually come in and chopped on medium tyres instead of the hards. The Harry F has done the same because I think he started on the hards. But Cam and Old School, I can't lie, I think they've both botched it.
I think they both selected 2 stops.
That could
I think
also
that
be
might have been, I don't know if the 2 stop is soft, medium, but it's with selecting softs. No one who chooses softs at the start. But like on this game, the softs are just unusable in the race. I found. If there's a conscious decision to go 2 stop, fair enough. And obviously the safety car removes one of those stops. But now Cam K's what, 9th? Yeah, I don't know where he'd got himself up to, but it's going to be a struggle to get back through. The top 2 not pitting, I think, is a smart decision because they had track position. They clearly had the pace as well. So if they can pull that gap out again and then try and recover, well, see how far behind they are when they pit, I think it's a very good position for them to be in. Obviously, the hard runners aren't going to pit, but it's a very early safety car, lap 4. And I don't know what tyre wear is like, but 23 laps on hard still don't seem like the easiest thing to do.
No, it definitely won't be, but can be done. As you say, though, it's just going to be very difficult to do. And if, as I say, if they can pull it off, then it looks like Matt Tibos would end up winning the race if he can pull it off. But again, we'll have to wait and see if that is going to be the case. Like you say, though, Cam and Harry F both chucking on a set of mediums, the same with Old School, indicating that they are all two stopping. Lars, Rex, Matt Tibos chucking on a set of the hards indicates to me that they're going to try and extend those hards to go to the end of the race. And as I say, if they can pull it off, then yeah, that's credit to them, because then they'll be able they should be able to make that two-stopper work. Only driver that we haven't actually got at the moment in this train is Old School, so we're just waiting for him to come up towards the back of the safety car, and then it should be in at the end of this lap. But yeah, I think from the top two's perspective, they had a very good start. They did what they needed to do. It's now just a case of if they can try and replicate that again on the rolling start as opposed to a standing start this time, and if Brent is able to try and get away from the rest of those guys. In case anybody also is new, we have got the red flags on, so if there is a massive pile up, then there is a chance that we could have another standing start go ahead, but it would just be yeah, it would just resume sort of from where it already started, or from where the crash had happened, shall I say, sorry. So yeah, there could still be a red flag that goes on if there is a massive crash, and again could really ruin the strategies of the guys that have pit early on, like Sakan K, likes of Matt Tibos, Harry F, all of them guys. Could really mess them up if a red flag was to come out. Yeah, if a red flag was to come out in total anyway. But Old School is now up towards the back of this field, so we should be able to get this one straight back underway. Will MCR be able to overtake Brent, or will Brent be able to hold on ahead of the Aston Martin? Could maybe the hard runners start to maybe come into this very soon? Again, I think only time will tell, Roth.
Yeah. Do red flags actually exist on this game? I've never seen one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do, yeah, but it's just we haven't... I think because it's on reduced, we haven't actually had one unless there is going to be a massive pile-up going on, but... Yeah, Brent going to be going very, very slowly through the final chicane at the moment. We'll see when the restart does occur. I feel like Matt Tibos might have actually just got a hit in the back by Harry F. But again, we'll see. He's really causing the pile-up now, and is going now. And it looks like Crack is trying to go around the outside of MCR in towards or coming up towards the line. Doesn't manage to get it done, but now MCR going to be using his ERS. Crack going to be using his ERS. Not going to be able to go for any sort of move. We are now back underway on racing, and Jordan has not had the best of restarts. The top four have already scurried on away from the rest of the grid. Matt Tibos as well, trying to hold up Harry F as much as possible, as well as Rex and Lars and Old School. But yeah, I think realistically for Matt Tibos, it might be better to let Harry F go on by and just try and keep up with him. Although I think he's trying to do that with Cam K at the moment. So we'll see if that does pay off for him a bit later on. But at the moment, Brent Warner is still in the lead. MCR in second and Crack in third. But Crack is really just pushing these top two along. Already, it's looking like his hards are better than those two up front in their medium compound tyre, but I think he's able to keep up at least this time in relation to that, as Mats and Cam K side by side of each other. I think Cam K was trying to go down the inside, Mats around the outside, as Julie Show also getting the move done on Jay Hings for P6.
Yeah, weird restart. Brent just bolted and then didn't go anywhere down the straight. MCR, I thought, was going to try and sneak up the inside. As we've got Cam K looking for a way through on Brent. No, not Brent. Mats. And Mats were looking for a way through on his teammate. Cam K really had to get out of it, as they've maintained position for now. Actually, that's Matt Tibos sneaking up the inside. Matt's going wide. Cam K going around the outside of the second part of that chicane, and Cam K up to 8th. Harry F is now up to 9th out of nowhere. Matt Tibos has dropped down to 12th. So after all of that, Matt Tibos was going for 9th, ends up in 12th, and Cam K and Harry F get through on Matt. No change up the front at the moment, but the top two have not bolted like they would have hoped. But there are small gaps separating third, fourth, and fifth at the moment, and that's what they need to hope for. They just drop DRS range of a few of the hard runners, and and build as much of a gap as they can, as Rex was looking to make a move up the inside of the hairpin on Matt. Gets the inside on the exit, but Matt's still good enough drive to hold on to that position up to Spoon corner. Any moves further back? Lars did have a look at Matt Tibos, but Matt Tibos, yeah, back to 12th. I don't know if he's got damage or anything, but he's not having the best of times on this restart.
No, it certainly isn't. Cam K, they're trying to go around the outside of Jay Hings in towards 130. They're both still side by side. Cam tried it once with one of the AlphaTauris, but could not make it work. Tried it with the other AlphaTauri, and again did not manage to make it work. And Cam, I think, is just getting a bit too overly ambitious now. DRS is now going to be enabled. He's going to be using his DRS once again. He's only on 30% left, is the American. Whereas Jay Hings is now going to just sort of let him go, let him just carry on going through on his race. A little bit further up ahead, though. Julie and Jordan side by side, going down in towards turn number 1, both leaving each other the appropriate amount of room. Jordan, though, manages to hold on that position up ahead of the Aston Martin. Ecos Mats and Harry F, both side by side. Now coming through the S section. Not where you want to be going side by side with. Harry F trying to go for a switchback on the Dutchman, coming through the S's as well. Harry F, amazing move, manages to get the move done on Mats in the end, and now up to P9. That was bold, to say the least, and now it's caused a massive train going on behind Harry F, with including Mats, including Rex, Matt Tibos, Lars, and Old School, all so tightly bunched with each other. We might even see a move go down from Rex in towards the hairpin. He's trying to sneak it up the inside of Mats. He tried this on the last lap. He's now going to try it again on this lap, and I think the American might have done it. Who's got the better traction? No, I think Mats might have had a little bit of better traction, but Rex manages to get it done in the end. He was ahead and got that move done. Very nicely done from Rex. But yeah, that was a very interesting battle going on between Harry F and Mats, and Harry F has actually managed to catch himself back up in the DRS, so not all is lost for the Brit in the Red Bull at the moment. So a bit further up ahead though, Farrell trying to go down the inside into 130-year-old MCR, both touching each other as well. MCR trying to hold it around the outside, and again in towards the final chicane as well. Cam K diving up the inside of Geordie Show through the final chicane. I can't be able to keep up in the amount of battles that are going on at the moment. MCR now under pressure once again from Farrell. Farrell's trying to go around the outside, going down in towards turn number 1. I think MCR gives that one up and says Farrell will go on through. He's now down to 4th position as MCR. I didn't even realise Crack got past him in the end. So MCR was battling with Brent throughout the first 5 laps before that safety car came out. He's now down to 4th position.
Yeah, I think the Hearts are finally taken over, as we'll see if Crack can stay with Brent, close up a little bit. But Cam K, he's made that extra stop. He's going to have to pit again, but he's exactly in the same boat as MCR now with fresher tyres. So not really much of a loss from him. As I think Jordan did have a look at MCR. There's a little bit of gap. MCR should have good enough drive out the corner to stay ahead as they come up to Spoon, and he does. But Cam K right back in the mix.
Yeah, so not all hope is lost for the American. Matt Tibos getting the move done on Mats as well just before Spoon comes. In fact, they both touch. Both go around as well. Old School and Lars going very wide out of Spoon as well to avoid those two. But contact between the McLaren and the AlphaTauri. Jordan as well now getting overtaken by Cam. Again, coming up towards 130R. He did it already on the fresher, on the soft tyres early on. He's done it again now on the fresher medium compounder tyre, and he's now all over the back of MCR and Farrell. Farrell, though, already dropping out of DRS from the top 2, and I don't think, no, he has not. He has not got DRS to those top 2, as, again, another commotion going on behind now. Including Jay Hings, Geordie Show, and Harry F. In fact, they also might be going in 3 wide in towards turn number 1. Harry F. going to try hold it down the inside of Geordie Show. Doesn't manage to do so. Jay Hings goes very wide out of turn number 1. Means that he drops down 3 positions. Now was leading that little train, is now at the back of that train, down to P10, as MCR still pushing Farrell through the S section at the moment. I think Farrell probably a bit better in a straight line, but through the turns, you can just see that MCR is just so much more confident going through the S section, going through any of the turns that you can see, as well as Rex and Harry F side by side through Deadner 1. Not where you want to get being going side by side, but they make it work, and Rex goes around the outside of Degner 1 and gets the move done on Harry F. Again, there's just so many unorthodox moves that are going on in D3. It's just, they're happening everywhere, but you wouldn't be expecting it.
Yeah, just so much going on. That weak first sector from Farrell is going to really cost him, I think, because now he's out of DRS range, and whether he can get back in, it's a big ask, and it doesn't look like Farrell's going to be able to do that. Crack is right, well, it's caught right up to Brent. Whether these medium runners think about pitting now, as Brent does come into the pits, so just as Cracker kind of caught him up from maybe another lap before he'd look at an overtake, Brent makes that pit stop, that one and only pit stop of his race. As in the background, I think there's a move, Rex trying to go past Julius Show. Was he already ahead? No, he wasn't. So that's Rex getting through on the Aston Martin. I think Camk has just got, yeah, Camk just got through on MCR as well. So it's all kicking off. There's too much to cover. But Crack now has a 1.9 second gap over Farrell because of the lack of DRS. So Crack in a very good position. What undercut can Brent do? He's at the back of the field. But I wouldn't have thought he'd be there for very long with the pace he has and with the fresh tyres. So how much time can he gain before the hard runners pit?
I suppose we'll wait and see as well, because as you say, Brent, he's only 8 seconds behind Mats. I think obviously where both Matt Tibbles and Mats had the collision with each other through Spoon Curve, meant that they're now significantly behind the rest of the guys. But yeah, anything can sort of happen. As I'm watching now on board, Lars going down the inside of Old School in towards Spoon Curve, manages to get the move done in the end. They're both almost dropping out of DRS and the rest of them, but manages to catch back up. So nicely done from him. Cam, though, I can see he just wants to get this move ASAP on Farrell, and it's only time. Well, I suppose we'll see going down in towards turn number 1 if the Alfa Romeo is going to be able to hold on ahead of the Alpine, or is Cam going to get a better run. He has a little bit of a slide coming out of the final corner. I don't think got the better run, and I think, unfortunately for him, I don't think he's going to get the move done. Although I say that, he's using the overtake, the DRS he's going on. He gets the move done before even approaching turn number 1. So Cam must be running quite a significant straight line speed as there's yellow flags through the final corner. That's Matt Tibos having a spin out of the final corner again. I don't know if he made contact with Matt because they were both right next to each other, but yeah, Matt Tibos unfortunately out of the final corner, now down into plumb last. And that's, I mean, if Matt Tibos can hold those tyres to the end of the race, then not necessarily a bad thing because he's only just behind Brent. But if he can't make those tyres last to the end of the race, then he's in a world of trouble for trying to get any sort of points for this evening. Meanwhile, MCR still hounding the back of Farrell, just can't find a way past the Irishman. And now Rex trying to see if he can maybe go for any sort of move possible and try and follow Camk throughout the rest of this. At the moment, Rex, though, I think is in the best position. Not to say that Camk isn't, because I mean, he's catching up to Crack now as well. But Rex, if he doesn't have to pit again, he is without a doubt in the best position possible. If he doesn't, if he does have to pit again, then realistically, Cam and Crack, I think they're in they might be in the driving seat at the moment.
Yeah, I'm getting Hungary 2019 vibes. I think from this one, Rex is just going to be miles out in front, and instead of one driver trying to chase him down, it's going to be every single driver in the field trying to chase him down at the end of this race. But the gap that Rex is going to have as MCR comes into the pit, that's to try and not lose as much time to Brent as possible. But Brent really isn't that far away. Brent's only at the chicane. MCR's in his pit box now. Brent's going to be so far ahead, I would have thought, as he comes across the line. There's MCR. He's going past MCR now. Look at that. That's ridiculous. MCR just across the speed limit line. He's going to come out behind Jordan, which I don't know where Jordan was in comparison. Maybe right behind him at the time, but wow, that is ridiculous, that undercut.
Yeah, that undercut is insane. That's good to know for D2. But 6.5 seconds. I did not think it would be that big of a gap, considering that they were only split by, 2 cars? I think it was only Farrell and Cam that were in front of them. So, yeah, that's an insane gap of an undercut for Brent. We'll see if MCR is maybe able to make it up, and same with Jordan. But, wow. From what it looks like, I don't think so. I think Brent, he's already onto the back of Mats as well, and already within the DRS of his fellow Dutchman up in front. So, I think we're going to see Brent maybe make up another position on the next lap. But there's a massive train going on now for P3, which is being led by the Irishman of Farrell. It's got Rex, Julisho, Harry F, Lars, and Jay Hings all in that train as well. Old School just training a little bit further behind in that. And as I say, that Farrell actually comes into the pits on the hard. So he's betting a bit earlier on these hard tyres and going to go for a set of the mediums. In fact, I didn't even realise it's already lap number 15 of 27. So Farrell trying to go for a bit of an undercut on Crack out in front. And we've seen how powerful that undercut is between Brent and MCR. Brent already going up ahead of Farrell, as Farrell's only just come out of his box now. And Brent's gone through turn number 1 already. And in fact, I think Farrell's even going to get jumped by Jordan and MCR. So, yeah, that undercut is extremely powerful in comparison to those guys that are that are pitting on this lap or pitting very soon. It just means that now Farrell needs to try and pick his way through those hard runners. And I think Crack might have to do the same very soon, you know.
Crack is... he's left it the longest. This is the problem. Everyone behind him is on a... Well, except from Julisho and Jay Hings. They're all on different strategy. They all pit under the safety car. So, Crack... It's going to be very interesting where Crack comes out. But MCR... The thing that helps Farrell in this situation is he's on the mediums. They warm up quite quickly. And then when they do, he should be miles quicker for a good few laps. But he's got Jordan and MCR in front of him. With MCR having DRS, it's going to be a struggle for Farrell to actually get past when they're so close. So he has got the tyre advantage, but at the same time, he's going to struggle to make the most of that if he's stuck behind them, as Harry F now makes his way into the pits for a set of mediums. Yeah. Was Harry F... Oh, Harry F hit it under the safety car. That makes sense. I was trying to think then. Harry F was on hards at the start, I remember now. But that is a second stop for him. So that's kind of the way Camk is going to be going, I would expect, pretty soon. If that's the undercut as well, Camk is going to really have to think about pitting again. If he's got another set of mediums, which I would have thought he does. But he is on the back of Crack. So Crack stayed out as well. So Crack's going a lot longer in this race than some of the other someone like Farrell, who is starting to close up to Jordan. MCR did get past Jordan and is now 1 second up the road. So MCR is flying. 6.7 seconds though between him and Brent. And they were 1-2 at that safety car. So Brent has just bolted with that undercut. Whether the tyres come back to haunt him at the end, I don't know, but it's a very similar thing to what he did in Australia. He went for that early pit stop and he pulled a massive gap that, I mean, Farrell was close to winning in the end, but it's still too much.
Certainly was. So yeah, we'll see if Crack's able to maybe do the reverse of what he tried, as Cam going down the inside of Crack for the lead of the race. The American now up into the lead on those medium tyres, and again they still both have not pit. They're just wasting time now, if I'm honest with you. They're wasting time because Brent is already 4 seconds now behind Old School, and Old School 4 seconds behind Jay Hings. In relation, I mean, the gap to the leader between those guys, I mean, Brent's only 11 seconds behind Cam. So he's caught up a significant amount of time. At least those guys will be able to go on a set of the mediums. Maybe they're playing it out to the softs.
Potentially, but I think that's too much of a risk. My other thought is potentially they're waiting to see if there's another safety car, but once again, at this point in the race, I think that's too much of a risk. When there's that much time being lost on the normal strategy, waiting around for something that might not happen is a very, very big risk. As Brent slowly gaining on the back of Old School, it's now 11 seconds to leader, under 3 seconds to the car in front. Now, the other thing we need to remember is Rex is going to the end, as I think is Lars, on these hard tyres. Yes. Brent will have to make his way through that as Lars actually goes deep into the chicane. Julisho is going to have a run. Actually, Julisho goes into the pits, so never mind that, as the top two do enter the pits. This is the moment where we see how far they come out. I think they'll be behind Harry F in that gap between Harry F and Matt. So and they have gone soft. Well, Camk's gone soft, and Crack has gone medium. So difference in strategy there.
Yeah, very different indeed. So Cam's gone. Okay, so Cam and Julius are the only two that have gone on a set of the softs. Everybody else has gone on a set of the mediums. The times are jumping about all over the place. Farrell's gotten now past MCR, so Farrell's now up into P4, or net second position, shall I say. It might not even be in that second position because of those top two. The thing is, Brent is now only 7.5 seconds behind those top two, which is now being led by Rex, and Lars also in second. So we'll see if they're able. If they are able to maintain this, maintain their tyres, then they have pulled off an absolute blinder from under that safety car. But again, like you say, 23 or 24 laps of worth of hard tyres under the safety car is very, very challenging. As Crack makes a mistake going out of the second Degner, Harry F all over the back of Cam K, and in fact, yeah, you were saying they're all going to come out around Harry F. Cam jumps up ahead of him. Crack is actually behind him, and he was only 3 tenths behind going into the pits on Cam K. So that's how tight that margin was between Cam, Harry, and Crack, because now Harry is splitting both Cam and Crack was leading the race as well up until those pit stop stages when Cam actually overtook him into that lap as they were making their pit stop as well. So yeah, I think it's all kicking off. As in fact, Rex is in. Rex is in.
I didn't expect that one. As Lars stays out, I would have expected Rex to go to the end, but maybe he's just seen how much time he is losing, and he's going to go for a set of the medium compound tyres with 8 laps to go. I mean, he can go flat out on those tyres, but where's Rex going to come out in all of this? Behind Crack? Yeah, behind Judas Show?
Behind Jay Hings,
This is going to be close with Jay Hings, I think. Jay Hings will get ahead. So Rex has come out in 11th after being in the lead. Part of me just thinks, stick it out. You've got 8 laps to go. You've got very little, like, what's the point in not going for it, you know? He's pit and now he's down in 11th, and it's going to be really difficult to get anything above 9th. It's going to be really difficult in that amount of time for Rex to really gain anything. If Lars pits, I'll be very surprised, but Farrell is starting to gain on Brent, but whether it's enough. And Cam K has just made that move on Jordan's stick. No, Jordan's got a great exit out of the hairpin. There's a little bit of argy-bargy as they come through the right-hander, but Cam is now ahead on that soft tyre, going to charge after MCR, who has once again just not really been mentioned after dropping down a few places after the safety car.
Again, he's just Mr. Consistent, isn't he? He's I know he put it on pole, but he's still down in P4. Still not necessarily a bad result as Harry F trying to go around the outside of Jordan in towards the final chicane. I think Jordan's going to be able to hold on to that position on those hard tyres. He's now being absolutely swamped by the rest of the medium runners and the soft runners as well. Crack also having that red flashing light on the back of his car. They're going to try and almost go free wide in towards turn number 1. Jordan's going to try and hold it around the outside of Crack, but I don't think the Scotsman's going to be able to do anything with that. Tries a bit of a switchback at the start of the S's, but unfortunately Jordan has to back out of that one. Harry F and Crack now jumping up ahead of Jordan into P6 and P7 respectively for the pair of them. Jordan, unfortunately on those hards, is really struggling to try and keep up with the rest of these guys. Cam, though, already almost 1 second up ahead of Harry F and almost caught up a second in this lap so far on MCR as well. I think it's been about 7 tenths just in that first sector alone that Cam caught up to MCR, and again we're only a third of the way through the lap, and MCR is just glued to the back of Farrell for the time being, despite Farrell getting past him only a couple laps after they made their pit stop. He's managed to keep with him, has MCR, so very nicely done from him as Harry F and Crack. I think Crack tried diving up the inside and towards the hairpin, but Crack has to now just stay back behind the Red Bull for the time being, as there's been a crash on my game. Interestingly enough.
Lovely. Lovely.
Fantastic.
Yeah, is the stream still going?
Yeah, the stream's still going. Just there's been a crash on again.
Now we get my radio commentary. Here we go. I was about to say Brent doesn't seem all that happy, because he's now actually losing time to Lars. Farrell is gaining on him. Everyone's gaining on him. And he's slipping back. So Lars is in a very nice position if his tyres do hang on here The gap is hovering around 7 seconds. But MCR is still going with Farrell. Farrell trying to close that gap. Wants P2. But I don't know. This is going to be close at the end. Without mistake, I think Lars is the favourite for this one as it stands. It's going to be very... Brent's got to do something drastic to change the way this is going. Cam K, 1.5 seconds now, the gap to MCR in front. He's trying to get in that DRS, but MCR does have DRS himself at the moment, but it's coming down slowly. Crack's going with him as he's got through on Harry F. Julius Show in the back of this train. Jordan still just dropped out of DRS range as Rex is up behind him.
Yeah, so it was all
Cam K
pretty much
not
kicking
quite,
off then.
yeah, everything's kicking off. Cam K not quite in DRS range yet. Maybe next lap, as the gap between MCR is just over between MCR and Farrell is just over a second, but he did get the DRS just before the detection point as they bring it down the pit straight. I don't think, yeah, Crack didn't. There's a move in the background. That is Jordan getting overtaken by Rex and Jay Hings. That was very close as Rex swooped across the front of Jay Hings into turn 1. Holds the position on him, and Rex now up to 9th. Jay Hings into 10th.
Is there any chance I can quickly get an invite at all?
Yeah, I can do that. As if I can find the list, there we go. Sent. Cam K, 1.6 now. The gap falling back a little bit again. So whether the softs are starting to go away, as we have our first time penalty of the race. Ooh. And it's Ecos mats outside the points. So it's not going to affect anything at the moment. 5 laps to go. Last still in the lead. The gap's 6.5 from his fellow Dutchman. Farrell down to 3.5. The gap from him to Brent in front. MCR now out of DRS. Cam K not quite there, but Crack is all over the back of Cam K. So whether the softs have fallen off on this lap, Cam K under a bit of pressure from the Williams driver behind. The gap under half a second as they come through. Is it still the Casio Triangle, the chicane? I think it is. I always say names for no reason.
Yeah,
they're wrong.
I think it is still technically the Casio Triangle, but
it's not really a triangle these days, is it? As Harry F. Oh, that was close. There's a bit of contact there as he tried to sweep back round the outside of Rex. Got overtaken by Rex and Judas Show there. Oh no, maybe he was going. I think he might have been trying to overtake Rex. No, he was ahead. Ignore me. He tried to sweep back round. There was a bit of contact. I think you caught that on stream. I think. Are we all good on the stream side of things now?
Yeah, no, everything's all good with the stream. We're back in now. I'm not sure why it just decided it wanted to crash just for no reason, but yeah, at the moment, as you say, Cam, he started to drop back off a little bit from the top from MCR, and he's managed to sort of just about gain back within a second of MCR. So it's just whether the American is able to keep up with him on these soft tyres. As you say, they are starting to die off. I think he pit on lap 18 for the soft compound tyres. So yeah, it's just whether the American's going to be able to hold on with these softs. I mean, him and Geordie Show are doing a very good job at the moment. And as I say, in fact, he's actually caught up a bit more to MCR. But all 3 of these guys that are running in formation have run out of ERS. It's just whether Cam's going to be able to go for any sort of move. In fact, he's trying to look to go around the outside in towards the final chicane. A bit of contact between them. MCR just shoving Cam out a little bit more. Means it invites Crack to go down the inside at the exit of the triangle and gets the move done. And now Crack is going to have the DRS on the back of MCR. Is Crack going to be able to go for the move on MCR? He's using the ERS. He wants to go down the inside. He certainly does. And up toward P4 goes Crack. After that little bit of contact between MCR and Cam K, I suspect that might be a steward's inquiry after the race, because it was MCR. Just he slightly shoved out Cam going through that final chicane. I don't think MCR was expecting Cam to still be there. So he moved a little bit back off to the left. Cam was definitely still there, and unfortunately for Cam, he ended up losing out that position to Crack and not able to go for that move on MCR in the end. So now down to P6 is the American. Again, I don't think he's going to be too happy with that one, but he's still got the opportunity to still finish in P4. I think third now might be out of the question for Cam. I think he had to get that move done to try and chase down Farrell in these closing stages, but I think it's a bit too late now, unfortunately, for Cam. As even Rex got the move done on Julie Show as well. I didn't even manage to catch that one. So, yeah, I think Cam really is going to start to struggle to get P3. I think P4 is still definitely doable for the American.
Speaking of Rex, he's really not having the rub of the green this season. I mean, the one time he's in a position to potentially win the race, he pits from it, and the person he was doing that strategy with is still leading the race with 3 laps to go. And Rex is trying to make his way back through the field in 7th. It's got, 2 Americans are right next to each other. Cam K, MCR. MCR still just holding on to DRS, but I think Cam K will get him this time around, as MCR doesn't fight it, and Cam K is going to get clean up the inside into turn 1. That's P5 for the American and the Alpine. But Rex's next car up to try and overtake MCR. MCR just, the strategy hasn't quite gone his way. I mean, Brent's managed to make it work, but still Brent was leading the race. He's going to struggle to get that lead back with 2.5 laps remaining. And MCR is going to drop right down here, potentially. He could finish out right at the bottom of the top 10. But we'll wait and see on that one. He's holding on to the back of Cam K quite nicely. I think those softs have gone now. 7 laps into this stint. This is the 8th, I'm pretty sure. At the front, Lars still got a 4-second lead. I think it's too much for Brent. Without a mistake from Lars, I think it's too much at this stage. Farrell, I think the mediums have probably hit their cliff as well, so he's going to struggle. So I just saw Crack come over the crest in the background. It looks like he's closing in, so we could have a battle for third towards the end of this one. Cam K's fallen out of DRS as well from Crack, so this is all going to go down in that kind of... Well, we might have a battle for third, but that battle for 5th is just going to go crazy in a minute.
It certainly is, and Rex is just looking onto the back of MCR, not going to go for any move at the moment. Goes a bit wide out of turn number 1, which then invited Julie Show to maybe have a look on the inside of the Williams, but not able to go for any sort of move for the time being. I think you're right, Cam is really struggling through this S section, and now you can see MCR is practically pushing him through the S section now. So I think Cam, those softs, unfortunately for him, have not really worked out a favour for him, as that's Matt Tibbles into the pits, probably to try and go for the fastest lap of the race. But you're right, and Jordan picks up the 3-second time penalty as well. Not going to really affect anything. As to say that, he's actually gone around. So Jordan having a spin out of the exit of the Dunlop curve as well now puts him out of contention for any points. Max is now back into the points. And probably what could have been for Matt Tibbles if he'd have just stayed out. I think he would have been getting a point at least instead of trying to go for the fastest lap. So he's probably kicking himself about that. But yeah, it's all sort of kicking off as I thought Rex was trying to go around the outside of Spoon Curve on MCR. I thought Cam was really struggling, but he's already pulled out another 6/10 up ahead of MCR despite going through the S section. So it kind of indicates to me that Cam also running a bit of a straight line speed setup in comparison to the likes of MCR and to Rex, because they are managing to keep up very nicely through the first section of the track. As we're now on to the final lap of the race, and Lars, he has played this strategy to perfection. I said if he pitted under the safety car and holds on with those tyres, then it's going to work wonders for him. And at the moment, he's 3.5 seconds still up ahead of Brent. Brent is not able to catch up. But now on to the final lap of this race, and Geordie Show trying to go down the inside of Rex in towards turn number 1. Rex has gone a bit too deep into turn 1. Manages to keep it on the track just about, but ends up drifting it through turn 1. That meant Geordie Show then got the move done and is now up to P7. And Jay Hings is now looking to see if he can go for a move on Rex coming through the S section. Not going to be able to do so for the time being, as Jay Hings goes very deep coming through Dunlop Curve. It means it could invite Harry F, to try and do something. But at the moment, for the time being, he's not going to be able to. Cam completely dropped off now from Crack. In fact, Crack has just, well, yeah, he's just driven off at the moment, and I think Cam got slightly beached on the curves of Degner, at the exit of Degner too, because now MCR, again, he's just sniffing all over the back of Cam. But again, with Cam's straight line speed set up, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything for this race though. But Lars, him and Rex both pit under that safety car, chopped on a set of the hards. We thought Rex was going to be going to the end on them. It turns out the American decided he wanted to pit and make it a bit more fun for himself. But Lars has played an absolute blinder. He makes his way around the final chicane now to come up towards the line. It wasn't expected for him to be taking the win for this evening, but he does so and takes the win. It does Lars in the Haas. 23 laps on those hard tyres. Brent does take second, and Farrell takes the final podium position. Crack will take fourth. Cam in fifth, with MCR in sixth. Julie Show in seventh. Rex in eighth. Jay Hings in ninth. Harry F in 10th. Old School will finish in 11th. Matt's in 12th. Jordan in 13th. And we'll await Matt Tibos to come round to finish and try and go for the fastest lap attempt, which I'm pretty sure he will end up doing it anyway. But the one that we was not expecting to take the win, Lars, ends up winning it in the end. And Brent second and MCR in sixth, who we thought were going to be, who we thought were our winners. Yeah, Lars just played that strategy to perfection. Rex, I think, really messed it up.
He said he wasn't going to make it to the end on tyres. I don't know. If Lars has managed to do 23 laps, and it didn't exactly look like Lars wasn't really slowing down that much. I think he could have done it, but he played it safe and it hasn't paid off. But Lars wins. I didn't even consider Lars, I'll be honest. But he wasn't up there at the start of the race. I mean, Brent, you expect Brent to be up there, MCR, Farrell, but Lars kind of appeared from nowhere. He started 10th, and he's won the race, so fair play.
And with that as well, he hasn't actually even taken the championship lead. He was on 18 points, if I'm not mistaken, before the end of this, at the end of this race. Before this race started. Oh no, Brent was on 26, sorry, ignore me. So yeah, Brent does actually inherit the championship lead. But Lars from 10th on the grid, pulling off the, he pit under the safety car and he made that work despite Rex being in doubt of that. Lars managed to pull it off, so he ends up taking the win this evening. Brent in second, with Farrell in third, Crack in fourth, Cam Kate in fifth, with MCR in sixth, Julie Show in seventh, with Rex in eighth, James in ninth, Harry F in 10th, Old School in 11th, and Matt's taking a final points position for this evening in 12th. Jordan finishes in 13th. And Matt Tibos did manage to take the fastest lap in the end and finish in P14. So, yeah, what a race, what an end to that race it was. And, yeah, I think an unexpected winner that we had for this for today. Lars ended up taking the win. But Brent now inherits that championship lead.
Yeah, Brent coming back from a bit of a stinker in China. The pace is there, but nothing really went right for him after that safety car came out. But second place here, a win in Australia, back to the top of the championship by, I think, 7 points. So it's a good drive for him, and Farrell puts himself back up there as well into third, I think, in the championship now.
Yeah, 33 points for the Irishman as well. Jordan as well, he put himself up in a couple extra, but I mean, he didn't end up getting any points, so I think he'll still remain the same, might end up actually dropping a position to Farrell, sorry, so he might go to fifth in the standings. Sixth, because MCR's also finished up ahead of him, so yeah, I think it's 3 rounds now down of the League of Europe, coming out of the Asian region and going in towards the European region next week. For round number 4 around Portimao. You don't want to be missing this one, because now the championship battle is going to start to heat up, that is for certain. So thanks to everybody that has tuned in for this evening. Make sure you guys are checking out Division 2 and Division 4 that are going to be starting in approximately 25 minutes. Division 2 covered by Old School and Funky Chicken. I think it might be those two. I don't know if they've pulled out or anything for tonight, but if not, it'll definitely be those two. And then Division 4 will be QVR Verstappen and his special guest of whoever that might be, whoever he decides to choose. I think it might be NSX Montana, but again, you might have to check that out if you want to know who his special guest will be for Division 4. But yeah, like I said, thank you to everybody that has tuned in for tonight. And we'll catch you guys next week for our number 4 around Portimao.